My name is Pranay. I'm the founder and CEO of MFD. MFD is building global trade infrastructure for small businesses in physical inventory businesses. So I'll split it into two. I'll talk about the origination side, where we meet small businesses that are growing faster than ever. And you would think that in the current economic climate that everybody's struggling, but we're seeing small businesses have outlier levels of growth because they are grabbing share at the cost of enterprises. And so they're essentially going out there, identifying market needs and actually capturing market demand. And they're growing faster than ever, which is the exact opposite of how the large enterprises are seeing. Because the large enterprises are struggling with interest rates, with overheads, and the ability for them to innovate in the markets. So you're seeing large enterprises shrink and small SMBs scale digitally. And that is essentially where you see this dichotomy, because SMBs are growing and an insatiable need for credit and for finance and for operations because they are taking market share from large enterprises. You contrast that with the actual asset management side, where people are more conservative than they've ever been. And yes, having a Republican president might help the American market get a little more bullish, but there is a real problem where governments have overspent, they've overprinted money, and that trickle-down effect of that basically pullback is actually showing up in asset managers. So what you're seeing is asset managers wanting higher yields for lower risk, and that's like a bit of a oxymoron. And so you have to go in first to show them I have a higher yield, but then they don't trust the asset, and so they want to know it's low risk, and then that diligence period can take forever. And so what you're seeing, this slowdown of actual asset deployment, that even though there's a lot of money on the sidelines waiting for a yield and waiting to be deployed, you're seeing this gap in cash meeting the market needs between the originators wanting cash and the asset managers looking for the yield but not trusting that it's a real market. So from an SME perspective, because that's where I operate, that's what we see. I think building trust is very important in trade finance, especially digital trade finance. I think connecting the physical aspect of movement of goods to the digital aspect of asset business, you have to be able to trust that what you see is happening on the technology, on the screen, is actually happening in the real world somewhere. Having a technology platform be a digital representation of physical movement of goods and activity, and having that verified in real world through trust, is essentially going to be the next step for our business or for any trade finance company. If you are buying a receivable or an underlying asset that sits in Africa or India or South Asia, and knowing when that asset moves, who owns that asset, how is that asset being delivered, and who's actually underwriting that asset, who owns a piece of that asset, and how's the yield being covered, and what happens if that asset goes sideways, traceability, visibility, and operations in the real world as it is verified on the digital platform, that to us is our focus in 2025, because if you don't have that, investors can't trust that you are actually doing what you say you do, because then the digital is disconnected from the physical.